Hello guys, hello. It is me, Physics, once again. Today, sadly, it has happened. The Dark Pact character has suffered an untimely death at the ripe, young level of 91. I got a little greedy. Not greedy, I got a little overconfident. I died to a level, or a T14 Drox boss. I pushed pretty high into reds. I was just, I was getting a little bit desperate for my, I'm in standard now, so you can't see my watch tone setup or anything, but I was getting pretty desperate for my Al-Hazim amulet. I had farmed up a bunch of scarabs and Legion emblems, but I was doing all of it off stream because I really wanted to watch the end of the gauntlet and how it panned out. There were a lot of deaths and stuff, so I actually didn't stream like the past 2 days. I had the gauntlet up on my other monitor, as you do, and I was just farming away. But then I got really antsy. I was actually handling like T12, T13 maps really easily, and then spawned a Drox, went in and fought him, and actually the fight was going great. He was almost down. Sadly, I don't have any footage of it, but he was almost down. It was pretty comfy for the most part. And then I ate a slam, just straight up. I ate a slam. It was 5 in the morning. I had been up for a really long time. It could have been sleep deprivation, but part of it also was spell echo getting me killed. So I'll do one last update on the character here. I'm not gonna go forward with the character. The character is pretty close to being finished, honestly. In Trade League, you could min-max this gear a lot more. I'll show you what I have, but in Trade League, you could min-max this a lot more. Push out way more damage. But for HCSSF, I was getting really close to once I got the Glorious Vanity and once I got the amulet crafted, more than likely I was just going to try to craft a slightly better wand and then do bosses and then be done with the character, because really everything's pretty close to being done. Sadly, I didn't even get to level 20 Dark Pact. I didn't even have a chance to corrupt my gems, things like this. They were that close, but I got greedy with the Drox. I've never actually died to Drox before, that I can remember anyway, so that was a first for me. But got some pretty nice gear. I'll walk through the gear real quick, and then please stay till the end of the video. Towards the later half of the video, I'm going to showcase the next set of builds, and I need input on those builds. So, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to punch you guys. I need input on the builds. I need to know what I'm doing next. My PoE life is now in your guys' hands, so I don't want to start a new build before I know what I'm playing. You know what I mean? Because you guys are voting on the builds, so that's gonna be super important. So if you don't care about the character from here on, skip to the end of the video, see the build list, and please vote on something. All right. So Dark Pact. Overall, you guys let me know if you want like a actual guide based around this character for HCSSF. There's no one playing this on ladder. I think there's 1 or 2 people that played this on ladder on PoE Ninja. I didn't really take a whole lot when I was looking through and theory crafting this build. I didn't really take a whole lot of stock in what I saw because I had issues with them, like they were really low life, etc. This character overall, if I had to give it a grade, I would probably put Dark Pact somewhere like in A tier once you get the gear. It could be like an A-ish. It's got some solid damage, but it has a few problems. It's quite fun to play. It's got good damage. Once you're a Necro and everything's popping and you got your equipment, obviously Necro needs a little bit of gear to get going, but once you have it, Necro's obviously very tanky. The biggest problem with this build is
when I'm ready
to deal damage, you have to use Spell Echo. And I kind of went over this in the last video, but it works, funnily enough, it works a lot like Blight, where you want to almost channel it to get as much damage ramp up as you can. And what that really equates to is it ends up feeling like really sticky in boss fights. I noticed it's actually what got me killed. So you're fighting a boss, even map bosses, you have to like just stand still and hold down space, or hold down Dark Pact, and like that gets you into some really sticky situations, and that's the biggest thing that I think holds the build back. While mapping, it's not a big deal. The skeletons will run forward as the Dark Pact is training on them, and they'll kill stuff. It's very comfortable for mapping and everything. But yeah, it's just actually on bosses, you have 2 big problems. You have mana, and then you have the Spell Echo having just self-cast problems, right? Self-cast very clunky. But you could maybe try using Unleash I actually ended up dumping it and never testing it. POB will tell you that Unleash is similar DPS, but there's no way it doesn't account for all the chains you get, and I don't see Unleash being like a viable option for the build. But maybe for bossing, you throw it in anyway. It might actually work out. Like think like Cirrus, you like throw out an Unleash and then you're dodging some mechanics, and then you throw out an Unleash and then you're dodging some mechanics, stuff like that. It may end up working out in the end, because you know, the way boss fights work, you're not going to have a whole lot of uptime depending on the boss. So Unleash may work out for bosses, but again, I didn't get that far. But if you guys want a build guide or something like that, let me know. I can do one since this isn't really done. There's no Dark Pact build that's been like tailored for HCSSF. I definitely think this is a HCSSF viable build if you want to try it. You just have to be aware of some of the weak points of it. But honestly, I was really blown away. I was expecting the build to feel a lot worse. I was expecting it to not do very good. I was expecting it to have damage, and then that was it. I was expecting map clear to feel bad and everything like that, but actually it's been pretty comfy. So one tech that I actually started using the day of the death that is really, really nice, and I'll be completely honest, I was having such a bad problem with bosses, like I was doing conquerors and stuff, and they just felt very, very awkward, because if you run out of mana flask charges, you just have to use another portal. You have to log out, go back to the hideout, get your flasks refilled. So I went and I was looking through like other people's Dark Pact guides. I was like, someone else had to have run into this issue. What did they do to fix it? So 100%, I went and I looked at Gazi's guide, and Gazi recommended using focus. The skills cost no mana while focused. This was a lifesaver. This was not my idea. I didn't come up with this. I just straight Googled my question. Which I think is OP, by the way. Don't come up with every solution yourself. Sometimes Google just has the answer for you before you put in that brain power. Right, so on bosses, you can throw up the skeletons, pop your focus, and then just bam, blow away. And then it's got an 8-second cooldown. But during bosses, as long as you're using focus on cooldown and not overlapping it with your enduring mana flask, it helps so much. It's huge. And if you're playing this in HCSSF, if you're doing like a follow along or whatever, this is a must have if you plan on doing any bossing. If you're in trade league and stuff, it's not as mandatory, because just given trade league, you're going to have way better gear. You're going to delete bosses incredibly fast, especially with the damage this build has. But for like HCSSF, if you're doing this, you need to have the focus craft. It is huge. I believe it's a amulet craft. Yeah. So I got it on my amulet. You might be able to put it on rings as well. I didn't actually check. So nothing gear-wise has changed since the last video. The only thing that really changed is I got a better bench craft on my chest piece. This is the tree so far. So all I did from the last video was pick up melding. Pretty much the only change. As I'm level 91 right now, the remaining few sockets, or the passives, would go towards sockets. Like I would need these two, which is 93 for, or 94, I guess, to get these two passives and Mind Over Matter for the Glorious Vanity. I did do a few 2-ways, and I didn't get any Timeless Jewels, so I had farmed up for 3-ways. I have like 5 emblems now that I had saved up, and I almost have another set of emblems. They're all like 70 to 90 in the splinter range, so that's what I was mostly doing on this character. Doing a lot of Gwenin gambling, trying to get an amulet that was influenced. I did get a few influenced amulets, but none of them were hunter. So I kind of got a little bit unlucky with gear, and then got impatient and pushed higher than I should have. Honestly, the mapping though was still really comfortable. The bosses were still really comfortable. I ate a slam, and that's something you can't afford to do, especially when you don't have fortify. I just didn't have enough raw to live that. A T14 Drock slam is huge, but I can do like a full in-depth guide or whatever. I'll put the POB of this character down below. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. I definitely recommend trying this. It's a fun build. It was a lot more fun than I was expecting. Something that you could try if you run into damage problems, which you shouldn't, but if you run into damage problems, you could socket out of blast radius and grab a few crit nodes. You could probably sacrifice, especially if you're playing like softcore SSF. You could probably get rid of a few other things. If you're not running Arctic Armor, which I am because I have the helmet enchant, you may be able to drop Sovereignty, which will give you 4 more points, and then you can pick up like Arcane Potency, just generic spell crit nodes. and then instead of going for like AoE and area damage, getting some of those crit nodes and picking up, I have 2 Frenzy Ape Specters, but you could get one that does power charges as well and use that instead, and then maybe try crit approach to the build. I did poke around in PoB with this a little bit. It is like a 20% damage increase, just getting a few nodes on the tree. This is without a diamond flask or anything like that as well, and without power charges, which you could get the ape. So it would be a decent damage increase if you guys want to try that. I'm not going to like recommend it, or I'm not going to like theorycraft that out for you guys. It's just, if you want to play with it, feel free. It may be a viable avenue. These were things that I wanted to play around with, but obviously didn't get to. Yeah, I think that's it for this character. If you guys have any questions, feel free to throw them down in the comments. I will do my best to answer questions. If this isn't enough info, or you guys want a more in-depth like guide to the character, let me know and I'll do that. But this is just like a diary entry on it. This will be the last diary entry for this build. Again, if you guys want it, I'll make a full-fledged guide for this and walk you through all that. But yeah, otherwise, Dark Pact character finished. Solid like A minus, pretty solid build. Definitely slept on for the strength this build has. If it was more like well-known, more popular, whatever, I think this should have a way higher play rate than 2, now 3, including me, people on the ladder playing this. It's definitely very solid. Yeah, I think that's everything. Last thing is I actually got this ring. I forgot to show you guys. It was a nice upgrade. I lost some life and some energy shield, but I got mana regen, which is huge. And then I got minimum endurance charge with endurance charge on kill. It was just a random unveil, and it was actually good, so I used it. It gave me a ton of chaos res, as you can see. 29% here. Pretty good. Anyway, that's it for this character. And now I will exit PoE, and we will go to the desktop here. Okay, so for the second build in the build diary series, you guys let me know what you want here. So we have the RF Inquisitor and the Scion Selfcast Exsanguinate character. These are making reappearances on this list. Everything else on the list is different. So if you guys notice, the current rank 1 Marauder, I believe the rank 1, is Lalagate, and he's actually playing General's Cry, Shield Crush Berserker. This is something I kind of looked into, but overall, I don't know a whole lot about General's Cry. I've always thought it was kind of like a trade lead thing, and I've stayed away from it. But him finding the success he has, I've watched quite a bit, like 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes of his gameplay, and it actually looks really smooth, and obviously he's doing a gauntlet, so it must be doable on SSF. I worry, like, I don't think he's down bosses yet, and I worry about the build's ability to down bosses. It'll definitely have damage, but you're playing Cyclone, Berserker, you know, and Gauntlet. It sounds really rippy, but it shouldn't be that big of a problem in the standard game. So I'm definitely give this a crack, see if I can make this work, and see how it feels. It looks really interesting to play, honestly. General's Cry, Shield Crush is very interesting. It looks cool. Rage Vortex Zerker, I know this is not new. I played this, like, this was my rank 1 pusher at league start, and since then it has gotten discovered that the ability is quite strong. However, I did drop a Red Blade banner while playing my Dark Pact character, which I couldn't get at league start race. So I still have a character that I leveled up after my first rip at like 94 or whatever, sitting at level 90 or 91. He's a Zerker, and he used the same build. If you guys want that, I will jump on him and I'll push for 100 using Rage Vortex. I don't know if there are any level 100 Marauders in HCSSF, so I think that might give me a little PoE racing title. It would be kind of cool. I'm just throwing it out there because I really like Rage Vortex. I like the Warcry play style, and if that's something you guys would be interested in seeing, it would basically be like, he's already kind of in red maps. I threw the Red Blade banner on him last night, played around with it. He walks straight into like P15s and just like destroys everything. Rage Vortex is busted. The reason it's on this list is because I think Rage Vortex might see some nerfs going into next league. If you look at like the HCSSF ladder, it doesn't have a lot of play, but that's simply because the best way to play it, I think honestly, objectively, the best way to play it revolves around Red Blade banner, which this league is really hard to get. If you look at Trade League, I'm sure it's a lot more popular. If it's not, the only reason would be people hate the Warcry play style. It's actually a lot worse than Slams because it's not just Warcry play style, but you're micromanaging rage like very, very heavily on the build. It's not set in to forget it like it was with slams. So yeah, it may get hit because of trade league Andes. So it's on the list. If you guys are interested, I would like to play it. Summon Reaper Necro. I love Summon Reaper. Every time I see the skill gem in Act 3, I want to buy it. I just put it on the list because it's something I was like, maybe. But I put Pain Arrive here because I don't actually know if I want to play it. I feel like I'm just getting hypnotized by the idea and like the aesthetic of this skill. So it's just on there for fun, whatever. I don't think like a build like that would be capable of really clearing a lot of content. And then Spectral Helix, Poison, or Elemental Pathfinder Raider. I haven't played Spectral Helix yet this league, so it'd be really cool to play this. Maybe you guys would be interested. I know like Octavian's already done the Poison thing and all that, so this isn't like new ground or anything, but I was kind of like fishing for other builds and stuff to put on this list. Yeah, vote on one of these. You want to see me play the next character? Please vote now, vote fast, because I can't really do anything. I am beholden to you guys from now on for next builds. I think the only exception to that will be league starts and gauntlets and stuff like that. But yeah, if there's something else you guys have in mind you want me to play, feel free to recommend it. No promises that I'll play it. It won't count as a true vote if it's not on this list. But if you point something out and it seems interesting, obviously there's not a lot of people voting on this stuff yet. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Please vote. If you made it this far in the video, let me know. And yeah, I'm gonna be pushing out a few more videos very soon, not based around the Build Diary series. I have a few kind of controversial videos that are still, I'm scripting them out, but they're coming. They should be fun at the very least. But yeah, more of the paint shenanigans and stuff like that coming in the near future, I would imagine. Anyway, thanks guys. See ya.